Bill Maher really outdid himself on Friday. Now, I knew this was going to be a panel from hell and a show from hell because he had RFK, Don Lemon, and Scott Galloway. Those were his guests. So that kind of tells you what you're in for. Now, this we're going to hone in on the monologue, the new rule, the big editorial. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but we're going to watch more than probably many of you guys can handle. Here he is chiming in on the student protests at college campuses and in the streets.
And finally, new rule. Someone needs to tell the people who block traffic in the name of a cause, no one likes you. And you're probably hurting your cause. In case you haven't seen what's going on lately, activists for ending the war in Gaza have taken to gathering on roads and bridges and stopping commuters from crossing. It happened last week in New York and San Francisco, Chicago, Seattle. They also blocked traffic here on the 405, but no one noticed. What they did notice was this, that you have to be pretty dumb to think that the way to bring people around to your point of view is to make them late to pick up their kids from daycare.
Kind of an insulting thing to say given the long history of disruptive protests. I don't know. What's an example of a protester blocking a bridge, right?
I can't think of it.
Bridge.
I can't think of it.
What is that? I don't remember. I'm blanking on the name. Was it Martin Luther King? Yeah. Civil rights movement? Yeah. I think so. Dumb? Dumb. Real dumb. Great statement that is.
Hang on. Well, let's see. I think I have some evidence here.
Oh, wow.
Continue to move means that we are making progress.
You can hear that,
we
right?
have touched the conscience of a large segment of our nation.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Dumb.
There you go. Look at these dumb people.
Yeah.
Look at these dumb people making people angry.
Yeah.
This would never accomplish anything.
Just extraordinary. It
How
gets
dare
worse.
they? How dare they?
It gets a lot worse. Here we go.
And that's what most normies are thinking. I have a kid. I have a job. And yes, I'm sure there are injustices on both sides in the Middle East, as there are injustices all
There is
over
a
the world.
section
But I'm going
set
to be late
aside
for
at
work.
that lunch counter
Something
for your people.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
I got to get places.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Well, it gets worse. It gets way worse. This is the least offensive part of it.
Protesters on the bridge seem to have the luxury of not having to worry about, which seems kind of privilegey.
Oh, because they don't have jobs? Oh, look at this guy. Oh, he agrees.
You can glue your hands to the street because your hands don't have to do any work today. I'm not saying there aren't sincere passions about Gaza, especially among people from the region, but social justice warriors, for a lot of them, it seems like it's more about the warrioring than about whatever the cause is. If you really cared about apartheid so much, which Israel does not actually practice, Arabs there vote, they serve in parliament, they sit on the judiciary, wouldn't you start with this? With the hundreds of millions of women in the world who live under a true apartheid?
Okay.
Well, they live, unlike the women in Gaza.
Yeah, that's true. They live, period, you could say. What did I say, folks? It's like time folded in on itself. What was the first monologue this piece of shit did after October 7th, after we knew there was going to be a genocide? This, Clash of Civilizations. Well, queers for Palestine. That's like blacks for the KKK. Ha, 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 ha. It's the first monologue he did. And now, 7 months later, same thing again. But it gets even worse, much worse, still.
A gender apartheid of the most brutal kind. I'll wait.
Had to do the please clap. Had to do the old please clap line because even your audience might be like, I don't know if this plays still, right? Yeah, let's see this one more time.
I don't know if we should really be getting involved in other people's cultures in quite that way.
Yeah, Yeah. Let's hear this joke fall absolutely flat.
Live under a true apartheid, a gender apartheid of the most brutal kind. I'll wait.
You guys are getting paid to be here. Remember, you're supposed to clap.
Well, and also all of this is so fucking historically illiterate. That is not the traditional garb of the people of these Muslim countries. That is the garb of religious extremists who took over these countries because we whacked their leaders when they tried to establish democracies. That's how we got that. They're like that because we wanted that. That would have been very small sects within Islam, but we empowered them because we did not want them to seize their own resources.
Yes, indeed. Here we go. Gets much worse, much worse.
Are you really speaking truth to power, or do you just think you look cool in a keffiyeh? Which is really just the new Che Guevara t-shirt. Another historical figure you never researched and so think is a hero, but was actually a sadistic, racist monster fighting for communism, the worst form of government ever. But these are small matters.
Go ahead, yeah, really. You can really see the true colors of a guy come out. All these decades, Bill Maher kind of cosplayed as like this, social democrat. He never called himself a communist, but he certainly presented himself as quite far left of the mainstream.
Yeah. Sanders supporter.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Much worse. Gets much worse.
Small matters when activism merges with narcissism. Less about the cause and more about me. Look at me. Watch me. And if you like the way I'm fighting injustice, remember to like and subscribe.
Okay.
Where the fuck do you get the balls?
I took that personally, my friend. I took that personally. I told you it gets worse. This is the worst thing he's ever said. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
but yeah.
Okay. These kids, to avoid being doxxed, are often wearing COVID masks, as we've discussed. They're not actually wearing them because they're COVIDians. They're wearing them to avoid getting doxxed. So how is this an act of narcissism when they're trying not to be seen doing it?
They're hiding their identity so they don't lose their jobs. They're not doing this for money.
Yes.
Their jobs are being threatened. Their job letters are being rescinded. That's why they're hiding their face, so that they don't get seen by the law firm or whatever, and they get a letter in the mail saying you got to start from square one. Exactly. So how is it narcissism?
When I think of narcissism,
you can accuse us of narcissism. That's fair game. We are narcissists. But we're doing this because we're narcissists. That's fair. But these kids are not narcissists. Yeah.
When I think of narcissism, I think of a guy who's got probably hundreds of millions of dollars talking about how things aren't so bad in the country. And then when confronted on it says, well, I don't go to Skid Row.
Right. A guy who gets his
sounds
ass,
like a narcissist.
A guy who gets his ass handed to him on Class Politics by Marianne Williamson, of all people. Yeah.
By Marianne, exactly. You lost a class debate to Marianne Williamson.
Exactly. All right. There's more. The worst is yet to come. Although this I take personally, but the worst is yet to come.
In February, a sad, confused man even lit himself on fire in front of the Israeli embassy, and in his last Facebook post, he said, "Many of us like to ask ourselves, what would I do if I was alive during slavery?" Interesting cocktail question, sir, and I guess the right answer is kill myself. But it wouldn't have actually fixed the problem if General Ulysses S. Grant had immolated himself and his last words were, "Hey, Lincoln, are you using that log?"
Real funny. Real fucking funny. You see what I mean? How
funny shit.
This is a new low? Real fucking hilarious.
It is a new low, and you can see his audience is like, are there any cameras on me?
Yeah.
Am I going to have to answer
COVID masks
for being here today?
They're taking their masks out and putting it on so no one sees them if the camera cuts to the audience. Wow.
What a fucking miserable piece of shit. This has got to be the bottom for Bill Maher. I mean, I hesitate to say it because who knows what new lows, but this is probably a low for him in his career. This is just fucking incredible. And it goes back to what we said. He shut up for a couple weeks when the word went out that they weren't to do this. It doesn't surprise me that after whatever deal they worked out with Iran went down, allegedly, all of a sudden he came back with a monologue like this. All of a sudden he feels empowered to push it this far because the powers that be want people pushing this kind of propaganda. And God, I can't imagine why the people representing him hated him so fucking much that they didn't invite him to the Oscar party so that they could be rid of him.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You call Aaron Bushnell a sad, confused man, which I don't think he was a sad, confused man. I think it was a radical act of protest, not one that I condone because we need people like Aaron Bushnell here fighting the good fight. We don't need them doing that, right? So it's not an act that I condone because I wish he were still here, right? But he was not a sad and confused man. Right. That's my opinion. Now,
we need people like that. We need veterans to go out there at these protests.
In the streets, right? We need them alive, obviously, right? But if you're Bill Maher, you said into the camera, he's a sad and confused man who killed himself, right? Because he was sad and confused. You then proceed to crack 2 jokes about it? Like, assuming he's this sad and confused man who committed suicide, you think that's fucking funny? You fucking make fun of him and liken it to Ulysses S. Grant. And I don't want to go here because I believe in free speech. I'm not for censorship. But this clip is up on YouTube. If any of us mocked a suicide victim, that video will be taken down. Guaranteed. No doubt in my mind. This scumbag gets to go on HBO, on TV, and denigrate and mock a man who he considers a sad and confused suicide victim. Where are the censors on that? Now, if I were a hypocrite, I would create a campaign. I would tag Team YouTube, hey, why is this video allowed? I'm not going to do that because I believe in his right to be a total fucking douchebag, and I believe in our right to call him a total fucking douchebag. So we're not going to do that. But we could if we wanted to. Again, the censors never come for these people. Never.
No, and they never will. They never will. It's a big club. We ain't in it.
Yep. All right, it's almost over. We're going to play 1 more minute of this.
And this fucking douchebag.
Yeah, look at it. They're real funny. Really, they're still laughing.
They're all laughing it up. They're all laughing it up. These fucking 3 rich fucking scumbags about a guy who killed himself. As you point out, even if you thought he's a sad, confused guy, why are you laughing about this? What does that say about you?
Right, exactly.
And then last week, another sad, confused man set himself on fire at the Trump trial in New York. So you can tell yourself you're a martyr for the Palestinian cause, but it's a lot less special when the next guy does it for Stormy Daniels.
That is just not true. The guy didn't do it for Stormy Daniels. That guy seemed genuinely a bit disturbed, right? And his reason for doing what he did was very vague. Nobody could really tell. He didn't do it for Stormy Daniels. And again, by conflating those two, you're making Aaron Bushnell's act of protest and sacrifice equivalent to this, which you're making fun of here. All right, we're almost done.
I don't want to diminish how sad it is that someone would take their own life for any reason, but...
Oh, but you just did. You just did twice in a row. You just made 2 jokes about it in a row.
Right.
And gave the audience a chance to laugh and clap.
You're absolutely right. If we did it, forget it. If fucking Jimmy did it, they'd pull that video.
That's bullying. You're not allowed to make fun of someone who killed themselves. Right. You're not allowed to do that on YouTube. I know the rules inside. I study this. This is how I make a living now. It's my job to know this. Okay? I know that if we did that, we would get pulled. This fucking scumbag comes up there and cracks repeated jokes about a guy who he said is a sad, confused man. Nothing? Just sickening.
Maybe from now on, before anyone commits an act of civil disobedience, they should ask themselves a few questions, like, is the most important thing in my life something I hadn't heard of 6 months ago? Do I even know?
Again, waiting for an applause because it's not funny and it's fucking stupid. What if the answer is yes? Like, what if the answer is yes, we found out that this was the most important issue of our time 6 months ago and we're acting accordingly? There are people in this space who've been on this beat a lot longer than we have. RBN's been on this beat much longer. Gray Zone's been on this beat much longer. I'm a little embarrassed, frankly, that I wasn't on it sooner. So what
Yep.
do? We try and make up for that by being on it now. That's
Yep.
what these kids are doing. And they know a lot more about it than you fucking douchebags. We might cover more of this on the Jimmy Dore show tomorrow. But on the panel, they're talking about, oh, well, the kids are out there doing this because it's a fad, it's in style. They don't really know what they're talking about. I would love to ask any of you, have you heard about the mass grave where hundreds of people were found, including children, with their arms tied behind their back? Have you heard about that?
The
You probably
second
haven't heard
mass
about that
grave
because you
where
don't
people
follow
were
this
found-
very closely because you don't
This is
care.
the second time. It's the second time people have been found with their hands tied behind their back in a mass grave outside a hospital.
Yeah.
Al-Shifa, they found people with their hands tied behind their back.
Yeah. They probably haven't heard about it. They probably haven't heard about it because they don't care much about it. So maybe keep your fucking stupid, fucking ignorant mouth shut instead of smearing these kids who know about it, a lot more than you do. And unlike you, they're trying to do something about it. They're not cracking jokes at people who lit themselves on fire because they were so tortured by what's going on.
Please clap.